Hello, good morning and afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the Outsourcing Edge from Remote Recruitment. I'm Emily van Asen, and as I always say, let's ditch the drama and hire smarter. Today, I'm with Nikki Ford. She has aced our remote recruitment process and has now ended up with what I believe is a dream role. But on the way, there's been some hiccups, and we want to discuss that. Stick around till the end. I'll share how you can grab our free remote hiring playbook to highlight Nikki's Bosted. Nikki, please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Emily. Thank you for this opportunity to share. My name is Nikki Ford. I'm executive virtual assistant. I've been working with remote recruitment for almost a year and a half, reaching 2 years. It's been a journey. I'm very excited and I'm vouch for them. I feel like wherever I go, I need to wave the flag very high because of the experience I had and the professionalism and ethics. So I'm excited to be a part of this and to share my experience.
Thank you, Nikki. And I must admit, you've been an absolute delight to work with from day one. I wish I had 1,000 more Nikkis because, yes, life would be amazing. So take us back to before we came across each other.
Yeah.
What made you start looking for a new job?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was in real estate for quite a bit of years, and I kind of reached a point where I was kind of over the hustle and bustle and the sales environment, and totally forgetting that I do have other skills. I've got a whole career behind me besides real estate. And then I started thinking that, when you kind of think that you need to stay in a box because this is what I've been doing for the last 5 years. So this is probably all I can do. The last 10 doesn't matter. And then I started going on LinkedIn and not really spicing up my LinkedIn profile because I didn't think it was that vital. I didn't know what I know now. And then I just started applying for jobs and just looking for something different. I wanted to get back into a corporate space, a supportive role instead of being out in the salesy environment. And then I came across remote recruitment and my life just everything changed. Everything
Ah,
changed.
Nikki, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's something that you picked up on there that I think is really important, the power of LinkedIn. This is
Mm,
something that so many job seekers overlook. They don't think it's important, and it really is. As recruiters, when we're skimming through thousands of profiles, if you don't have a photograph or you're in the car,
mm,
you're just going to move on to the next. What did you
yeah.
learn about improving your job prospects through LinkedIn? We're really interested to hear.
I woke up one morning and I thought, gosh, I need to be creative. How am I going to stand out? I want to bring my skills to the market. I don't just want to be someone looking for a job, you know. And how do I promote myself as a service rather than as an employee of some sort? I kind of wanted to be different. And it really changed how the responses I've had. I've only really worked with you, Emily, because remote recruitment it's given me a sense of stability. But I've had a lot of agencies reach out to me and entrepreneurs directly, purely because I positioned myself very strong. I got a professional profile. I try to post often so I can keep myself relevant. I try to engage with and I watch and I read more on LinkedIn to see what's happening. And I really feel that I positioned myself quite strongly. My layout just looks good. I mean, when I look at my profile, I want to work with me. I want to like, okay, this looks good. She looks strong. She looks powerful. She looks like she knows what she's doing. And I also try to keep up to date with what's happening in the virtual world so that I can make sure that when entrepreneurs or recruiters look at my profile, they're like, she's clued up. I want to work with her. I want to know more. And it just
So
opened
true.
doors for me.
It's
Yeah.
so true. And I think the first thing that people always overlook is the photograph. This is so
Yes.
important
Yeah.
because
So important.
employers look at that and they judge you. We all do it.
Yes.
So make sure you look attractive. Make sure you're in the car. Make sure you have a profile photo that represents you positively. Think about the words you use, the bio you write.
Mm,
It makes such a difference because there are so many applicants. You have to stand out. And your
yeah.
CV really did because and your link we looked at your LinkedIn profile and thought, okay, this lady takes herself seriously. And it makes such a difference because actually, how can you represent a company if you can't represent yourself well?
Absolutely. I love that words. That's exactly what we should be thinking about, is how others are seeing us in the workplace, and how serious they're going to take us, you know?
It really, really is. Now, so Nikki, we've gone through a couple of different iterations since we met each other. The first company you worked with, we're obviously not going to mention names here. You had at the beginning a very positive experience. Just can you give a brief outline of what that role was, what your responsibilities were?
Okay, so the first start we placed me in, was with an entrepreneur. He basically worked, he was by himself. He had a couple of businesses and a couple of, in different industries. And what my role was, is basically to support him in everything that he needs. So the typical executive support services that I providing with, really the support of, and a partnership in building strategic vision and guiding. And I take my role quite seriously in the sense of my CEO, I call him my business partner, represents. I represent them, they represent me. So I always want to make sure that they're operating at an optimum level, and they are delivering on what they're delivering. And I take away the noise. I do the mundane things. I make sure they're doing what they need to do. And I started with this company, and at first it was great. Like you said, there was synergy, there was excitement. It was my first role with remote recruitment. It was a bit nerve-wracking. I didn't really know how this all works in the virtual world. I did virtual work before, but it was local in South Africa, local. So working for um, a company abroad with a new recruitment agency, how does this all work? And then my experience then after a couple of months seemed to change. Um, Things just started coming through the cracks. And I think because you're an executive assistant, you see things. You get involved in the nitty-gritties of every business. Even you get very close to that person, you build a strong relationship with them. So you kind of know their thinking, their attitude towards things, and they start becoming very close with you and sharing things with you. And then I basically started uncovering some not so good business practices, and I was like, what do I do? How do I address this? Just not operating ethically, not paying staff on time, not just having good business ethics. And it was a struggle. A great person, but I could see there was a struggle in how. The why was there, but the how didn't fit in. And I started feeling obviously very uncomfortable because it just didn't sit well with my principles and values. Another person would probably like, "Ugh, doesn't bother or affect me, so I'm just going to carry on." But for me, I tried, and it was just a struggle for me. And that's when I reached out to you and said, Emily, I'm not sure how this is working. I don't feel good about this. Um, and that fear of like, I need to be working. So you had that battle in your mind. Do I just get quiet and go with the flow? And I couldn't. And I reached out to you, and then things
And I
started
think this
changing.
is something that's so refreshing, Nikki. And I think this is where you did exactly the right thing. It's so important to have that communication. I, as an agency owner, I don't want to know the ins and outs of the problems. I want to know the headline figures to see how we can support you and support the business to see if there's something that can be overcome. Um, so I think this is where this communication is key. So I think obviously we want to work with as many people as possible, but always choose an agency that you do have good communication with because it's there to work well with. And unfortunately, that particular contract didn't. It was decided mutually to sort of come to an end. Were you always paid on time? Did you ever have any issues there with payments?
Um, Yeah, well, I got paid on time, and I think that for me was a complete paradigm shift in the whole, my trust with remote recruitment, who I was really working with, really came through. Um, there was a time where we then start realizing this client is not paying for my services. And then so what happens is I realized that this is remote recruitment's client. I am the talent. How are they going to be able to navigate between who they support here? Are they going to support me? Are they going to just leave me one side because I'm all the way here in South Africa? You have all this thoughts. And there wasn't a month that went by, Emily. And gosh, it was it's such I get a little bit emotional when I think about how things could have gone. but how they went. Remote recruitment was not just a recruitment agency. I felt like you guys held me. Um, there wasn't 1 month that I had to worry about, am I going to get paid? Because it came to my knowledge that my CEO wasn't paying my recruitment agency on time. He was paying late. And I didn't even know that was happening. That's how you guys held me. For the longest time, I didn't realize that was happening. I got paid on time. I never had to worry about what was happening. And for me, that was a paradigm shift. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the background processes and procedures you guys have must clearly work.
Yes, and we if you've worked, you should get paid. It's as simple as that. You've done the work, you should get paid. And that, again, whoever you choose to work with in the future, well, other people out there listening, it's important that you get paid. It's also really important that UK employers and international employers, you have to pay people. It's basic, it's 101. Just because you happen to be in South Africa or another part of the world, you still need to pay people on time. You have bills, you have responsibilities. It's really important. So now let's move to where you are now. So obviously,
Yes.
tell me a little
Yes.
bit about where you are now.
Okay, so the transition came, and again, I didn't feel it much because, like I said, you guys held me, and we built such a strong relationship. So then there was just a month or two gap where I had to now find something different, and I knew that I didn't want to work with another agency. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy. I was putting my CV out there. I just didn't know if they could be for me what remote recruitment was for me, and that was the weird thing for me. I just didn't want to. I was willing to wait for an opportunity that you guys gave me. I'd rather go without a salary for a month or so and wait until it came from you than to work with an agency that I didn't really know, not sure if they know how it would work. So I think then also the time that we spent getting to know each other, and I think Emily, you guys understand who I am, my
Yeah,
strengths,
very
where
much so.
Nikki thrives. Yes, and I feel like it's very personal. I feel like you guys know me in a personal way because I can't put Nikki in this environment; she won't enjoy it.
Well,
I can put yes, Nikki needs to work one on one with the CEO, and you guys know that. And then a couple of months ago, you guys placed me with a property development company in the UK, and gosh, what a perfect fit. I am so happy. Sundays feel like it's exciting for Sunday. I mean, my kids even say to me, Mom, you're so excited to work. Like it's a little bit crazy. I'm like, I love working. I love the environment I'm in. Me and my new CEO, I'll say it's not new anymore, but we are so aligned. And also, Emily, when this opportunity came up, you gave me a call and you said, Nikki, I've got a feeling this is the one for you. Like you
yeah.
knew, and I love
Bit of
that because
magic, bit of pixie dust.
yes, yes, yes. Like it just sprinkled it all over me. And I was just like, so knowing your talent, I think that is the thing that stands out for me. It's not just about filling that vacancy. You guys
Not
knew I
to
had a
get it right.
property background. You know that I enjoy working one on one with a leader, operations, implementing processes, procedures. And this company never had anything in place, and I created something all by myself, and it was amazing from the start, and it was exciting, and it is exciting, and I'm loving it.
And you are most definitely in the right place, and your CEO is just as in love with you as you are with her. And you're both growing
Amazing.
something really exciting, and I'm really enjoying watching from afar the magic that's being created.
Yeah.
And it's so important because the employer and the talent, neither side wants to be job swapping. Everybody wants it to work. So it's so important to know who you're working with and get that foundation right from the beginning. Now, Nikki, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly now of working remotely. What
Yeah.
tip, what tips would you give someone starting the remote process, just working remotely
Yeah.
in general?
Yes. So I thought about it, and I could easily say to them, go to remote recruitment. you know, but in reality, yes, what are the things that What are
Juicy
things,
notes.
anxieties that I've had when starting, and what have I overcome now? I think as South Africans, we have a natural fear of doing something out of the ordinary. And this is very different. I still have people around me and they pay you on time. And you work from home all the time and you've never met your boss like in person. And how do you guys sit on meetings like Zoom and it works, you know? I'm like, yes, it works. I would just like to say, don't be, do it scared. Do it being uncertain, being sure, but make sure that you align yourself with a reputable company, someone like Remote Recruitment that knows what they're doing, that knows the South African market, that understands the values and principles of just the normal basic humanity. And because they look after their talent in a way like they first, and you kind of your reporting line is the next. And they've got you, and I'm saying just align yourself. Yes, there are things that goes on around at the moment in the virtual space, little bit dodgy and uncertain, and creates a little bit of anxiety. But I think align yourself with a good recruitment agency, and understand that you can possibly do many things other than what you think you can do in the virtual space. What you
I
don't know,
love
you can learn. I've kind of joined a company as well previously where I didn't know the systems or anything that they were working on, this huge management system. I mean, 2 days before I did tutorials, I watched YouTube tutorials. By the time I started, I knew how to navigate the system. So there's ways and means that you can upskill yourself in the virtual space, which is so exciting.
And I thank you for that, Nikki. And I think you're so right because there's so many people who are still looking for jobs and don't get disheartened. Continually upskill yourself, volunteer, learn, practice. There's so many things, resources available, aren't there, in YouTube, various academies that are free. It doesn't cost you anything. Keep learning. And keep yourself relevant. Nikki, you have been fantastic. That's it for the Outsourcing Edge. A big, huge
Thank you.
thanks to Nikki Ford, one of our star employers, for sharing how she escaped the hiring nightmares. Share this, drop me a link on socials, and like and subscribe to the Outsourcing Edge for more hiring hacks. I'm Emily Funason. See you next time. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you, Emily.